What we need is not more medications, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. This is Exposé coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria, every Monday on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook simultaneously. I'm your regular host, Tony Akinyemi. Don't forget, what we need is not more medication, but more education, because the best prescription is knowledge. Hello and welcome to Exposé with Tony Akinyemi today as we continue our conversation with your water and your health. I'm your regular host on this program. My name is still Tony Akinyemi. What we need is not more medication, but more education, for the best prescription is knowledge. And today I'm honored to have a special guest with me that I'll be asking some pertinent questions regarding water, particularly relating to a specific type of water that is known as Kangen Water. Now, many of you must have heard about Kangen Water before because this is all over the world. And we have one who can talk to us and help to answer some of our questions regarding Kangen Water and the benefits derivable from drinking Kangen Water. We know that we all have to hydrate properly. That is a given. And number two, we also know that the source of our water must be clean and purified. And number three, there are different ways that we can also tinker with our water in such a way that we derive more benefits from it. And one of them that we'll be talking about today is Kangen Water. And I have someone in the house who will be talking to us, answering questions regarding Kangen Water. Would you like to welcome my guests wherever you are? Mr. Simon, all the way from Malaysia. He will be talking to us about Kangen Water. You're welcome, Simon. Good to have you here on set today.
Good to be here, Reverend Tony. Thanks for inviting me on your esteemed show. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now, let's dive in right away. First question for you. Our viewers would like to meet you. Who is Simon and what do you do?
All right. So I am no stranger to the Lagos people because I've been in and out of Lagos and Nigeria. Wow. For the last, first time I came to Nigeria was August of 2022. August of 2022. First time stepped foot in Nigeria because of this project of clean and healthy water. Right. So I came into Nigeria because I know the people of Nigeria needs something of high quality. And I represent a 50-year-old Japanese company in Japan based out of Okinawa. I've been a distributor with them for the last 8 years. Wow. The company has been around for 50 years. And I'm one of their key spokesperson of this amazing Kangen Water that Reverend you have just mentioned, which has been in existence in Japan for the last 50 years. Wow. Unfortunately, most of the world have not even heard about it, including Nigeria and the rest of Africa. So I've been a main spokesperson for the company for the last 8 years. I traveled the whole world to speak about health and wellness. And I really love what you mentioned about we don't need more prescription, we need more education, because that is exactly what I do and what my team does in our industry. So that's been my experience for the last 8 years, and I'm happy to bring this into Nigeria, into Africa. Nigeria is a springboard for the whole of Africa, and it's been a great 2 years of business expansion in Nigeria. People are just loving the water once they get to know about the benefits of it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Incidentally, I heard about Kangen Water about 20 years ago, you see. I heard about it. Yeah, I heard about it first in London, UK. And, you know, it didn't make any impression on me. I just drank it and I walked away. Not until recently, before it started, you know, coming back to me to say, wow, why didn't I follow up on this? You know? Anyway, good to have you.
Oh, I didn't know that. I see.
Yeah. Good to have you, and thank you for the work that you do. Yeah, so in a nutshell, I'd like you to please explain to our viewers what exactly is Kangen water and how is Kangen water produced? How is it made?
All right. So now, first of all, this is we have a lot of our special bottles that our customers carry around. We have the blue bottles, we have the black bottle, all carrying the word Kangen water everywhere. First of all, let's derive what does Kangen mean in the first place. Kangen is a Japanese word. In fact, it's pronounced in Japan as Kangen, not Kangen. Kangen is the Western pronunciation of the word.
Right.
So Kangen, yeah. So when it went to the US, UK, and even when it came to Malaysia, it got altered. It became Kangen, but the real pronunciation is Kangen. And what Kangen means in Japanese is return to origin.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Kangen means, return to origin water. So what is Kangen water? Kangen water is, scientifically, we call it electrolyzed reduced water, but that is a mouthful for a lot of people. So we even have a simplified term called ionized water. So Kangen water, the properties of it is very similar to natural waters that we collect from the spring or the mountains. Because what happens when, you see, God has created this earth with everything that we have, everything that we need. So God created beautiful mountains with a lot of minerals, with a lot of rocks. So when the water flows down from the mountains, what happens? It has a reaction with all the rocks, and we call it ionization. Ionization happens in nature, whereby the water and the rocks, the mineral in the rocks, exchange ions and mineral content. That's why when you collect water to drink from a mountain, you often do not collect it from the top, but the bottom, because it is at the bottom, the natural ionization already occurred, and what you're drinking is naturally ionized water that has proven to have great benefits in terms of reducing inflammation in the body, alkalizing the body, detoxifying the body from the foods that we eat today. But the key is, most people like myself and a lot of people in this world that I speak to, we don't live next to a mountain that has natural spring waters. That's not the reality. I live in a big, hustling and bustling city. We take from the municipality or we buy bottled waters from the supermarket. That is the reality of most people living today. So how was Kangen created? 50 years ago, our founder and CEO, Mr. Hironari Oshiro, which is a 82-year-old Japanese man with no illnesses, sky high energy, full set of black hair. You guys can even Google his photo. He's been on the water for the last 50 years. And they created a technology that is able to replicate the natural ionization process, but with technology. So that was how Kangen water was introduced into the Japanese in the Japanese market. Because if you know something about Japan, less prescription, more education is somewhat a motto of the Japanese people. Because if you go to a Japanese doctor and you say, I have a headache, I have a fever, this hurts, that hurts, they don't necessarily push drugs into your system. They ask you, have you drank enough water? They ask you, have you had enough sleep? They ask you, have you had certain foods? They ask you, have you had certain things? So it's very different from the medical world that I was brought up in on the Western world, where drugs is the first thing that they push to you, and wellness is nowhere even on the list. So that's why this technology became so popular in the Japanese market 50 years ago, and it stayed in Japan for a good 25 years before it even went outside of Japan. That's why, Reverend, you got to know about it maybe 20 years ago. It went to the US 23 years ago. So it was in Japan. It's like a kept secret in Japan for years before it went out. So that's what Kangen water is. It is a machine that is able to produce ionized water, similarly to the natural spring waters. And the machine is constructed with such high qualities that it is recognized as a medical device by the Ministry of Health of Japan. And it is one of the only devices, home-based domestic devices in the market today, that has such a certificate from the Ministry of Health of Japan. That's why more than 2.2 million households around the world are using Kangen water today. I think that number 20 years ago could be 50,000 or 60,000 household. But Reverend, since the last 20 odd years, it has grown to about 2.2 million households around the world, all drinking healthy, no chemical, chemical-free and naturally ionizing ionized water. And that's what Kangen water is.
Thank you so very much. You know, I was going to ask you the very next question, and it appears you have already answered that question in this response. I wanted to ask you, why must I drink Kangen water? Why not just drink any other water for that matter? We've been drinking water since we were born, but you already covered that ground. Except you want to say one or two things about that.
I think yeah, there's a couple things to say here, because in my experience in Nigeria, I think a lot of people are on the bottled water, either the small ones, or they would buy the big gallon ones to be sent to their home.
Yeah.
Or even on the streets, you have this pure water, right, with the purple, you know, the plastic with the purple writing.
Yeah.
And you know, I see that everywhere, and we have done so many testings in Nigeria with almost every single brand you can think of in the supermarket. And one thing why people need to stay away from bottled water is this. First things first, every single plastic manufacturing company that make these bottled waters, the plastics that they use, if you just do some research online, it's highly toxic. You know, it has something called BPA, which stands for bisphenol A, which is already proven to be linked to certain types of adult diseases like cancer and diabetes, and even lowering the immune system of adults and even kids. And it's in the plastic bottled water. So that is something that the public doesn't really know about. All right, they think they pick something off the shelf in the supermarket, it's good, it's safe. But naturally, when something is stored in a plastic bottled water, you know, a lot of chemicals get leaked into the water. That's number one. So when you have a Kangen machine, because we don't sell the water, we sell the machine. It's like a mini factory in your house.
That's right.
And you buy one of these bottles from the company. We have our office in Lagos. You have these kind of bottles like this or like this. They are all BPA free, which means you're away from these kind of harmful chemicals. Right. It depends on the types of plastic that you use. So that is only on the plastic side. But what about the contents, which is the water? Now, if you look into the regular bottled water, some of them are very acidic, very, very acidic. How do you know if it's acidic or not? Just use a regular pH tester that you can buy from any aquarium shop or a fishing shop. And number two, they're all highly oxidized. And oxidized means it is already aged water. Now, you wouldn't eat a brown and rotten apple, oxidized apple, right? If you cut it in half and you leave it on your kitchen counter, you wouldn't eat that because it's oxidized. But water goes through the same process. The difference is when it oxidizes, it doesn't change its taste, its color, or its smell. So it doesn't really tell us whether this is good or is it bad. But most bottled waters are oxidized. And that's why I believe that Kangen water, number one, it's high in pH, it's alkaline, because our body tends to be very acidic. Because I think, Reverend Tony, you would agree with me that the way we eat today versus the way we eat 20, 30 years ago is vastly different. We eat a lot of junk today. You know, you go to the supermarket, you will see all types of junk that are highly inflammatory, highly acidic. So Kangen water is alkaline. It tends to remove a lot of the acidity from the body to make sure that we stay away from acidity. And number two, it is an antioxidant. You know, in Japan, they call it anti-aging water, because the moment you drink Kangen water, one of its key properties is it slows down the aging process of the body because it is antioxidant compared to all the bottled waters in the market, which is an oxidizing agent. So I think these are the two main key points why people should really try the Kangen water and invest in a Kangen machine. That is the main difference versus the normal water.
Thank you. Now, you made mention of a key word there when you mentioned Kangen machine. Now, which means that to have Kangen Water, I need to own a Kangen machine. And then you made mention of you made mention of the word invest. I mean, that gives me an idea or an impression that this must be a huge amount that I need to put in there. I mean, it's either I buy or I invest. You use the word invest. So how much investment are we talking about here if I need to own a Kangen machine? And why must I invest that amount in just a water producing machine?
Great question. So now when we talk, why do I use the word invest? First of all, a Kangen machine is very different from your typical water purification machine or even water filtration machine that you can find in the market, because we're talking about a ISO 13485 Ministry of Health medical standard machine. So we're talking about a different ballgame here. You know, the only thing why people confuse a Kangen machine and a filter is because both of these things deal with water, but they are two completely different things. All right. So investment is a good word because I believe we need to invest in our health. Now, the company that produces the Kangen machine is called Enagic Japan, and they are in more than 40 locations around the world. So Nigeria, Africa, is their latest endeavor. That is the latest branch. We're very happy to have that. It is the first African branch. And around the world, they will practice a global standard pricing. So for a Kangen machine, for medical device like the Kangen machine, the investment for one unit globally is at 4,000 American dollars for one unit. So a lot of people may hear, wow, 4,000 is just bonkers, right? It's like ludicrous to pay for a water machine. So, but first we must understand that what are we getting out of it? Because I firmly believe that price is what you pay and value is what you get. But what if you have somebody in your home suffering from a type of ailment that has to do with lifestyle, has to do with the things that they're eating, and they are generally, you know, getting sick, you know, here and there, going to the doctor, taking medication. So a lot of people look at the Kangen machine as having a medical doctor at home, and all you do is drink the water. There's nothing else you need to do, you know? And why people trust it, first of all, it's already been in the market for 50 years, used by many doctors around the world, and endorsed by credible institutions and associations. So when we look at that, as an upfront cost, definitely is not for everybody. It is for people that really believes in water, that wants to invest in water, and you want to invest in the best. Because Kangen machine is the number one in the industry. There are other cheaper machines out there in the market, but we are looking at a machine that has a lifespan of 20 to 25 years. So if you do some cost analysis, we call it, right, it is really cheap to own a Kangen machine. Really, really cheap to own a Kangen machine. So if you amortize it across the next 20 years. So that is how much it costs to invest in a unit. But at the end of the day, when you break down the cost, it pays you back in a matter of years. So that is how you can own one in Nigeria.
Thank you for breaking it down. We're going to go on a short break right now. And when we come back, I'll be asking you to please catalog for us all the benefits that a person stands to derive by owning a Kangen machine at home or accessing Kangen Water wherever they can find it. Now, you've mentioned some of them already. But I want it in a kind of bullet form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the benefits derivable if you drink. And how long does a person need to drink Kangen water before they start seeing these, effects in their body? When we come back from this short break, don't go away. We're going to be back very shortly. Welcome back. This is still Exposé with Tony Akinyemi, and I'm your regular host. Simon has been answering quite a number of questions, and it's been very enlightening and informative. Before we went on that short break, I promised that I was going to ask him this question. If I invest that much money, 4,000 US dollars, or the equivalent in whatever currency, in a machine in my house, and I begin to drink Kangen water, how long do I have to drink Kangen water before I begin to see the effects? And then can you help us to catalog the kind of effects that I should expect? And maybe also enlighten us on how to actually deploy Kangen water. Is this only one way to use it drinking, or are there other uses for Kangen water?
Right. Great. So first of all, when you're taking the water, because it's not a medication per se, so, like when you go to a doctor, you're going to take this pill and by so-and-so date, you're supposed to feel better. That's how medication works. Now, how the Kangen water works is it fixes the root causes of the problem, which is normally the acidity levels in the body, the inflammation levels in the body, or maybe the body has a lot of toxins that it needs to get rid of. So for the Kangen machine, for a typical person to feel a benefit, it's not going to be over a couple days. People need to be on the water for at least a few weeks to a month to feel a difference, because the water is doing its work, but it's not going to happen overnight. One of the fastest results that people will feel after taking Kangen water is when they are suffering from an extreme acidity environment. For example, you have people that are suffering from gout. We call it uric acid, gout or uric acid, where they have severe pains in their heels or their joints whenever they eat certain foods, or when they take a cola, or when they eat seafood, whatever it may be, and they get a reaction. So these people, they have severe acidity in the body because Kangen is very high in alkalinity, naturally occurring alkalinity. It really has an effect almost immediately. And we have some of our clients, some of our users that even experience it within a couple of days. Right. That there is a reduction in pain, reduction in swelling of the certain areas. So these are specific cases where people can feel the difference immediately. But if you're talking about somebody that has a lifestyle disease, example, they are diabetic, or they have cancer, high blood pressure. Now, all these things, I believe, they're all related to the lifestyle, the body itself, the immune system itself. And the water will take some time. It's not a miracle pill, but it is a lifestyle change. And you're making sure that whatever that you're putting to your body from that day onwards, you're putting in the best. And you have to give the water some time to do its work. So we're looking at a couple weeks to a month, but it doesn't mean that you get a better effect and you stop drinking the water. Because I always give people this analogy. If I put you into an environment where you have big factories around you and the air is horrible, discharge from the factory, you're not going to live very long. You're going to suffer some diseases in your lungs, and you're going to get affected. Your health is not going to be in a good shape. And I put you the next day in an environment like Switzerland, where you have the best air and you live next to the cleanest mountains and you breathe in fresh air, naturally your body is going to become healthier. But the thing is this, you can't just be there for a month and go back to the dirty environment. It has to be a constant thing. So Kangen water is a lifestyle change. It needs to be drunk from the day you start until you feel better and all the way as a maintenance. And now, Reverend Tony, you asked about a catalog. I'm going to put it into a bullet form, because the machine, it's a very high-tech machine. It has multiple functions to it. So a lot of people, when they hear it, they can't even believe that a water machine can do so many things. So let me just categorize it into a few categories. Now, generally, there will be 5 categories. Now, the first one is what we call the Kangen water. And even the Kangen water, it comes in 3 different pH levels. pH 8.5, 9, and 9.5. 9.5 being the highest, most powerful setting of the Kangen water. But why do we have 3? Is because when you start on the water, we'd recommend that you start at the 8.5 so that your body gets used to the water. Okay. Because remember, most of our bodies are very acidic. Most of our bodies are very acidic. So if we go to the highest setting on day 1, Some people may even get we call it a healing crisis.
Right.
They may experience extreme detoxification. They may experience certain pains in certain areas in their body that has been deprived of oxygen and hydration for a long time, because Kangen water is also extremely hydrating. So that's why we have 3 levels: 8.5, 9, and 9.5. And basically, all the water that you drink, your juices, your soups that you cook, to your coffee and tea, everything will be made with Kangen water, because there's simply no reason to use any other water once you have the machine. And that is number 1. Number 2 is what we call clean water. Now, clean water has a pH of 7. So 7 pH means it is a neutral water. It is neither acidic or alkaline. Now, the manufacturer has put in this setting to accommodate people who are on medication. Okay. So if you're taking medication, the manufacturer doesn't want the Kangen water to in any way have an effect on whatever medication the client is taking, because Kangen water is extremely absorbent. So if you take certain medication, it needs to have a certain hours of time release in the body. So if you take it with Kangen water, it may absorb it a little bit faster than required, and you may not feel the full effect of the medication. So that's why there's also a pH 7. So when do you take the pH 7? 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after your medication time. But before and after that 30-minute window, you should be back on Kangen water, because the key and the ultimate goal is for us to be off medication altogether. All right. So after that, you will be back on Kangen water. So pH 7 is only for medication. So that's number 2. And now we go to number 3, which is the ladies' favorite. In fact, a lot of men also love it. It's called the beauty water. All right. So it says on the machine, beauty water. It has a pH of 5.5 to 6. So what this water is, it is a chemical-free skin toner. Now, most ladies, they would visit the department store and they would spend anywhere between $5, $20, or even $20 on a small bottle of toner in order to tone up their skin. So they look younger and their skin is tighter and they look more beautiful, right, when they use this kind of cosmetic products. All right, that is what a toner does. Now, the beautiful thing about the Kangen machine is when you select the beauty water, the water that comes out from the machine is akin and similar to all the toners that you can find in the department store, which also means when a household owns this machine, there is no need for anybody in that house to purchase any toners or moisturizing creams ever in the department store. In fact, you save a lot of money and you put it in one of these bottles. Let me just show you. One of these spray bottles. And the great thing is, once you're done with it, you just fill it up from the machine. It costs nothing. So that's why a lot of ladies, they love it. They use it on their skin, their hair, their scalp, even their entire body, and it just tones up the skin and make them look a lot younger. That's number 3, ladies' favorite, the beauty water. And now coming to the last 2, the ladies' favorite, even men love it. Yeah, in regards to the beauty water, I think for men, the biggest application for me is when we shave. And when we shave a clean shave, what happens is we feel a bit of itchiness after the shave because our pores are open. So what happens is we can actually use the beauty water, spray on our skin, it tightens the pores and it reduces the itchiness as well. So a lot of men, they love to use it after shave. So that's number 3. Now coming to number 4 and number 5, now these 2 waters, now, they are one of the most powerful things about the Kangen machine. A lot of people think Kangen machine is only about Kangen water. But these 2 things is what really sets aside our machine and all the other products in the market. It is called the strong Kangen water that has a pH of 11.5 and the strong acidic water that has a pH of 2.5. So let me start with the 11.5. So the strong Kangen water 11.5 has a very high pH. Very high pH. It is an extremely high, strong alkaline water. But is it for us to drink? Answer is no. It's for another purpose. The purpose is when we use it in our kitchen to wash away harmful, cancer-causing, carcinogenic pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides from our fruits and vegetables. So it is a water that when you soak your rice, your beans, your tomatoes, your vegetables in it, it removes more than 90% of the chemicals that farmers spray on it. Now, why does this water do the job, and why can't you just wash it with your tap water? So let's understand one thing. Most chemicals that farmers use are oil-based. Why is it oil-based? Because when you spray oil-based chemicals on the farm, even if it rains, it does nothing to the oil chemicals, because we know water and oil, it doesn't mix. So why people use the strong Kangen 11.5? Because it is one of the only domestic home-based machine that can produce a water that breaks down oil. It breaks down the oil particles. That's why we use it to wash our vegetables, to ensure that everything that we're eating and cooking is free of pesticides. And that is so powerful. Basically, we are changing the way people are drinking water, living, eating, drinking their coffee, and now even in the kitchen and how they eat, when we make sure that none of the chemicals goes into their bodies and their kids' bodies. That's number 4. Strong Kangen, pH 11.5. And coming to the last one, and I believe it is a great addition of the machine, a great function of the machine, especially in Africa, because now in Africa, people are talking about hygiene. People want hygiene solutions. And the pH 2.5 is called the strong acidic water, and it is a sanitary water. Again, you can put it into a spray bottle. You can put it into a bigger mist spray bottle, or you can even put it onto a towel, and it acts as an antiseptic, antibacterial sanitary water, which kills 99.9% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. And that's why a lot of hospitals in Japan has been using this 2.5 water in hospitals to clean bed sores, wounds, and even help patients with gangrene or certain wounds that can't heal. So that is the last option of the machine, which is actually one of the most medically studied water, because the water has been sent to municipalities in Dubai, in the US, in Japan, where it's used in hospitals, where it's used in clinics to help doctors perform sanitization processes, and that is the pH 2.5 that comes out. So total of 5 different pH waters with different functions from one single Kangen machine. And Reverend Tony, that going back to your previous question, that's why people invest $4,000.
Wow.
They're getting so much out of it. They're getting so much out of it.
That's quite elaborate and highly impressive. One thing I also picked from your answer is that it's a whole lifestyle change. It's not just about drinking water. It also includes our diets and what have you. And
absolutely,
even replacing some of the cosmetics that may have some, toxic chemicals in them.
Added chemicals.
Right.
Yeah, you never know. We don't even know what to do. When you take a cosmetic bottle like this perfume and you just go to the back, 99% of the stuff they put in, we can't even pronounce it. And we put it on our skin.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. I say, if you can't pronounce the ingredients, please don't use it.
Absolutely. I believe that.
All right. Now, let me ask this simple question, just a straight answer. Does Kangen machine also purify your water before electrolyzing it?
The answer is yes, because before the water goes into the ionization chamber, it also goes through a double carbon antibacterial filter. So it does purify the water as well before it gets ionized. So you're getting a 2-in-1 machine from the Kangen machine.
Great. So if I need one, who do I contact? In Nigeria.
So in Nigeria,
in
Nigeria, I have my representatives. We've set up a great team in Nigeria. We have people like Madam Ada and Mr. Emeka, which are our core team members in Lagos, in all over Nigeria. So these are the representatives from our company that you can contact, and they will actually give you even a demonstration on how the machine works. Because I believe for somebody to invest $4,000, they need to see what the product does. And that's where Mr. Emeka, a great friend of mine, comes in to do a great explanation on how the machine works. And he will be the main person to liaise with the company in Lagos to get a machine ready for the client. Yeah.
All right. Now, can we have their contact details so that those who may want to contact Emeka or Ada can actually get in touch with them?
Absolutely. So maybe we can put it somewhere in this video, or Reverend Tony, you want me to read it out?
Just read it out, but it will also be displayed. As you read it out, it will be displayed.
Sure. So for Mr. Emeka, his number would be, of course, let me go with two numbers. First, you can contact Madam Ada, which at 08033253428. That is Madam Ada's number. And Mr. Emeka at 0818-488-8198.
In case you're interested in knowing more or in investing in obtaining 1 unit of the Kangen machine, please call the numbers displayed again on the screen, Emeka or Ada, and just tell them that you heard about this Kangen machine on Exposé with Tony Akinyemi, so they know that you're coming from me. All right? Now I'm going to ask Ada to say 1 or 2 things, and Emeka to also say 1 or 2 things before we sign off. Over to you, Ada.
You know, today, in today's world, we are having a lot of people going through health problems, several health problems, ranging from ordinary headache to dizziness, to vertigo, to diabetes, cancers, and all whatnot. And then we are told that our bodies are made up of 70% water. So for any normal human being to ever think of having stable health, it must be considered that they take a very healthy, pure water. And Kangen machine is the best that anybody can ever think of having in their home. Like our presenter says, Simon said, it's like having a doctor in the house. So we start by changing our water before our lives can be changed. I mean, the health aspect of our lives can be changed. So water is very important, and we're advising that people begin to come to know the huge benefits of Kangen water. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Emeka, over to you.
Right, viewers all over there, I thank you for your audience, and I thank you, Mr. Akinyemi, for this opportunity of sharing a health knowledge with us, especially through Kangen water. I want to advise us that the best thing we can do to ourselves is to invest so much on our health, because investment on health is not something to think about, something that must be considered, because it's not a wasted energy. Rather, it's a powerful investment we can do to save the future. And we have to do it in a simple and easier way. Everybody drink water. Water has been life, and we know that water is life. But the other way around, it's discovered that also water destroys life, depending on what you're taking as water. If we can only get the right water today, we can boldly shout that water is life. And I want to tell you from my own experience, I and my family, I want to tell you that the best water we can drink today is ionized, restructured alkaline water, otherwise known as Kangen water. And if you decide to change your water today, I guarantee you, it will change your life. Let us make it as a commitment to have access to Kangen water by making the investment of having Kangen water machine in our house, in our offices, and share to our neighbors and people around us. By so doing, we are contributing a lot in saving humanity.
All right, so viewers, incidentally, these are credible individuals. I know them, so contacting them, they will be able to help you facilitate the whole process. Yeah, let me also ask about, let me ask about after sale customer service, installation, and what have you. What do you have for those who might want to invest?
So first of all, I think for the water condition in Nigeria, it needs a bit of studying before the machine is installed, because you know, in places like Lagos, you know, I've traveled to Lagos, Port Harcourt, where else? Ibadan and Abuja. You know, different places, they have different types of water because it's a borehole water. You guys drill your borehole, and depends how deep you drill, you have different qualities of water, you know? So if you're living in a compound, you may drill, you know, 200 feet, but your neighbor drills 50 feet. So you guys have different types of water. So our experts on ground, you know, would normally do a water testing in the customer's home and suggest certain installation tools that needs to be done. Example, for certain areas, you may need you will need to put in a pre-filtration system. Maybe the water is dirty, maybe the water has a lot of sediment, or maybe the water has low mineral content that needs a mineral boost. So that's what's going to be done by our expert team on the ground, and they will advise accordingly according to the area that you're in. And number two, they will come with the brand new machine. And take note that every single machine supplied in Nigeria, you know, is from our factory in Osaka, Japan. So the machines are only made in one factory, and that is in Japan. And from Japan, it goes directly to Nigeria. So every single one of the units installed in the homes are purely Japanese made, original Kangen machines. And the after sales service is the team of experts on ground would also show the customer there is a DIY cleaning process, much like a coffee machine you buy from a supermarket, where you need to do certain descaling to maintain the machine. And the Kangen machine also requires the same service. And the great thing is, the way the Japanese makes the machines, it's all DIY, do it yourself. You don't need to pay money. You know, you need to make an appointment with the service guy to come to your home every couple months. Everything can be done by the person themselves or their helper. And that's why our team of experts come in and give the correct education and training to the customer for them to be able to do the service themselves. And in the event they need to purchase any what do you call that, accessories or change of filters, they may also contact the same experts that is on ground with them. Right.
I was going to ask you about the accessories. Are there consumables, parts that need to be changed, you know, from time to time? And how often will those be changed? Monthly, half yearly, 2 yearly?
Yeah. So the main thing that needs to be changed of the Kangen machine is the high grade filter. Now that is a filtration process before the water goes into the ionization chamber, and that needs to be changed every 6,000 liters.
Okay.
So the machine has a odometer itself. It counts all the water that passes through the machine. So 6,000 liters for a family of 5, example, you're looking at between 10 to 12 months. Maybe you change it every year. Or if you are a huge consumer, you use a lot of water, or maybe you share it with all your friends and family, you know, you have a big family, maybe you change it every 6 months. So it depends how soon the 6,000 liter comes. And that is the only thing you have to change about the machine, because the ionization chamber, the engine of the machine, is going to last you 20 to 25 years. You don't touch that. All you do is a simple descaling process every month that takes about 5 minutes, which our team of experts would be guiding the customer on how to do it.
Right. Thank you so much. Now, so what that means is that if I buy a machine now and I use it for 20 years or 25 years, what do? I throw it away and buy another one? What do I do with the machine?
That's a great question. That's a great question, because in Japan, the machines have been around for 50 years. In the US, the first branch was in Los Angeles. It's been there for 24 years. So there are machines that are beyond 20 years in the market, many of them, in fact. And what do you do after 20, 25 years? Well, if the company by that time has a new model, people would normally buy a new one. Or if you would like to keep the old one, what the company does and what the company commits is you can bring the machine back to the official branch of the company, which we already have one in Lagos, Nigeria, Adeni Jones, and they would actually change the ionization chamber to a new one with a cost, which is much lower than replacing a brand new machine. But of course, the cost 20 to 25 years from now, nobody knows what the cost is in dollars or naira, but it would be a fraction of the machine cost, and people have been doing it around the world for many years already. So that's what you can do when the time comes.
Thank you so very much. It's been a very enlightening moment today. We have enjoyed every clear answer, very succinctly delivered, that you've given to us today. The numbers to contact will be displayed on the screen again, so that those who want to contact Emeka or Ada can actually do so. And they will also be in a position to give further, guidance as to how to proceed in owning and installing one unit, either at home or in the office or wherever it's going to serve its purposes, even in hospitals and clinics. I know this would do a very good job in those places. I'm looking forward to the day when all our public places, we have some of these purifying and water solutions installed in place for the general public to even utilize from time to time. So Simon, once again, we say a big thank you for finding time to be with us on Exposé with Tony Akinyemi. It's been a very interesting evening today, all the way here from Nigeria, West Africa, and connecting with you right across over there. This is the power of technology, and we thank God for that. We look forward to the day you'll be back in Nigeria again for people to meet you one-on-one, face-to-face, and interact with you. So viewers, we want to say thank you once again. This has been Exposé with Tony Akinyemi as we continue our conversation on your water and your health. Water, incidentally, is probably next only to oxygen in sustaining life. And it's important for us to understand the place that water plays in our lives, particularly in relation to our fitness, our wellness, our health, and our longevity. And we see you same time, same platform, next week again. Never forget that what we need is not more medication, but more education. For the best prescription, of course, is knowledge. For to be informed is to be transformed, and to be uninformed is to be deformed. We've brought you information today for your transformation. We hope you make use of it, and you will share your stories, your beautiful stories of health transformation with us as time goes on. Thank you once again. God bless you. Have a terrific week. We're going to ask Simon to please give us his parting words and greetings before we say bye-bye.
All right. Once again, thank you, Reverend Tony, for this wonderful opportunity to be on this show. And one of the key things I want to talk about is that we're not just looking for clients. Our business is about compassion. Our business is about sharing. So what are we looking also in the Nigerian and African market are people that shares the same view as Reverend Tony and as the Kangen Water users in the market so far, and would also like to embark on a journey to share the benefits of this water all across Nigeria and also Africa in the future. So we are also looking for collaborators, partners, people with the same mindset and direction in health and wellness. Feel free to contact us. We're looking for more partners to work with to also share this great message of change your water, change your life with the African market. And that is one thing that would help us and help the Nigerian people to learn more about what Kangen Water is and how health should be in a natural order and not on the medication. And that's what we're also striving to do in the Nigerian market. So once again, thank you for this opportunity. And I wish to see all of the viewers of this show in Nigeria the next time I'm back in the beautiful country of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you all next time. God bless you. Have a terrific week. Bye. I love you all.